my name is Nia Jetter.
My own car, not that I use the downtown area.
Yeah.
So,
But whenever a Waymo's driving, I typically that conversation surrounds. So based on what you said, there's 2 questions I have to ask you.
okay.
And there's so many questions I have to ask you, but I think I'm really curious to know your take. So across the different rides, we've had conversations with respect to the fact that there's not a driver, and some people really like to have a driver as someone to talk to, whereas some people are like, hey, I'm good. Like I don't need to have any conversation. And so first off, I'm curious to know where you stand. Are you a person who feels like the driver is someone to communicate with? I can see that, like, first to add a little more context, in different areas where autonomy is being introduced, I can see areas where autonomy is being introduced to truly help people to make things easier. I could see areas where autonomy might not be introduced yet because, you know, there's a role that people play that is like a bartender.
Yep.
Like someone that you want to communicate. You want to talk to a person. And I like, right now I feel like robot bartenders are a novelty, you know, cool. Like I use them, but when I see them, but you know, like people do like to talk to a human. So for autonomous cars, first question or part A, what's your stance on that?
For me personally, I'm fine without the driver.
Yeah.
You know, again, most of the times when I'm in a car like this, going to some place, hiring out a vehicle, I'm trying to get somewhere, I'm trying to do something. So I'm either on a business grind or a social event business grind, and I don't necessarily need the social interaction.
Yes.
I think by default, my setting on Uber is that I want a quiet ride, and I end up still getting drivers that want to talk because that's their personality. And so I feel like I gotta be in the conversation. So for me personally, I'm fine without the driver.
Got it.
I'm fine with quiet, you know, especially for getting to where we're getting to. But I do see the value, you know, like you said, for other folks with that social connection. Like my husband would be the exact opposite. He's the talker and he's looking for the interaction. So he loves when we get into any ride or whether we're going to the airport or wherever he is, you know, mile a minute talking about all different types of things, from the music that's playing, if he knows the artist, and those kinds of things. So I see the value in both. I think it really just is determined by what it is the person taking the ride is looking for. You know, if I'm on the business grind, I don't need the conversation. So like taking Waymos while I'm out here is definitely something that's now more on my list than just resulting in the Ubers, right? Versus if I was traveling with like my sister or I was traveling with my husband, like the driver would definitely be a value because they'd be engaging like crazy.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And sometimes I even like having another person to kind of like be like a lightning rod for all of that energy. Like sometimes if the driver is very talkative, although, you know, I like sometimes it's great. Like I meet wonderful people, but I think by default, I am a quiet mode person myself. Okay. So I am actually right now, there was a comment that I wanted to ask you. I want to ask your opinion on. And so bear with me. So this is a comment from someone who viewed one of the Mo Adventures video, particularly that conversation surrounding, like, do people like talking to a driver? So Noah asked, hey, it's Noah. I wonder how comfortable people are in a Waymo driven by AI compared to an Uber driver who doesn't speak or interact with their passenger. So I think we touched upon that a little bit, but I did want to address it because it's not something that I've asked directly before.
I think it's a good question because, you know, like I said, my preference, you know, primarily whenever I take a hired ride is like quiet, because I really want the time to just be in my own headspace, to be by myself, either because I'm prepping for where I'm going, whether it's a meeting or a social event or whatever. And so like on this ride, I can say right now that this is on par with any of those rides, other than there's not a person there that I'm watching, right? Like I feel like even when I'm in a quiet ride with a driver, like I'm watching their speed. I'm watching like how they're navigating traffic and like if they're making me nervous or not. And this entire time I've been able to focus on our conversation and not at all check in on like, well, how actually is the car driving?
Right.
Now that we're out of downtown and we're going here, like we got through a couple of intersections and I'm like, oh, we're good. We're navigating around people. We're navigating around parked cars. And now I'm not focused on the ride. I'm focused on this conversation. And so I think, you know, for me in that respect, like this is a very comfortable ride.
Okay.
This is like, I have no concerns. Like I haven't felt like, oh, I need to check. Like, is the car like gonna go too fast through an intersection? Is it, you know, getting too close to the crosswalks, or like, are we, you know, like my worst thing that I look for and makes me anxious when I'm in a hired ride, when I have a driver, is, are they actually paying attention to the road and what's happening on the road? Or are they paying attention to their text messages?
That is
that are
a really good point. So
those
many
kinds
times.
of things. And being distracted, you know, and that's a whole concern that I don't have here. And I like that.
Yeah. A new thing that I've noticed is people are like watching videos, like watching podcasts, like Uber drivers, like, and like Lyft drivers, like people just watching something like while they're supposed to be driving. I'm like, wait a minute, are they like in like one little headphone or one iPad?
Exactly.
Like, iPod,
you know, and that's just not a concern that I have here. Again, I'm able to focus on this conversation, and I'm not having to be like, oh, is my driver like actually not paying attention to stuff? Is my driver like, you know, inebriated on anything? Which that has happened to me